and welcome to Menopause Strategy Sessions, where we have real conversations with experts helping women in midlife. And today I'm so excited to have you meet a women's alchemist. Her name is Emmie, and she is with Fly Wellness. So, welcome, Emmie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me and asking me to be one of your experts. It's really exciting and I'm really honored. So thank you.
Thank you. And Emmy is joining us from Canada. So I'm excited about that too. And she and I have a little bit of a history. I attended one of her webinars. And when I saw this woman speak and her presentation, I said to myself, this is somebody I want to be friends with. I need to know her. I need to talk to her more. I just need to be in her presence. And when she talks about perimenopause and when she talks about the cycle, I am very intrigued. But before we even go into that, I introduced her as a women's alchemist. So, Emmy, explain that to us. What is that?
It's someone who helps transform experiences and emotions and life transitions into something meaningful and empowering. And that is my goal with all women, but especially women in perimenopause. I know you've been there. I'm still in it. All of these changes that are going on in our bodies, and we don't really get much support from the medical system, from our doctors. They try and tell us it's age or stress, and we can get really down on ourselves. It's a very confusing time. So my goal is I like to offer women support and information for themselves so they have a better understanding and really feel empowered, because it really is an empowering time if you allow yourself to listen and move into it instead of working against it, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Because it really truly is an empowering shift mentally. We shed a lot of our old selves and come into this new, beautiful being of who we truly are. A lot of times when I say that to women, they look at me like, you must be crazy. I am having a hell of a time. And I'm like, girl, like I'm thriving right now. And that's what I want for women, is for them to thrive, alchemizing their experience. You know, I'm helping them as the women's alchemist, but they can be the alchemist of their own journey.
I love that. And I love that you say thrive and you are in perimenopause and you are actually using the word thrive. And I absolutely love that, because even though I'm in postmenopause, I always tell women that this is a time in our lives where we should be living our best lives. And I think you are a testament to that. And I want to say that I consider you, in my mind, you are the cycle expert, because I remember having conversations with you and you pulling out your little journal and saying to me, you know what? This is not a good week for me because I'm going to be on this particular part of my cycle and I just can't do that. And I love how you know your body enough to tell me that and say, no, this is not a good week for me. So I want you to please tell the people, let's talk about the cycles, because I don't think we realize that there are different parts to our cycle. So explain that to us.
What LaVaughn's talking about is my whole, these colors actually tell me where I'm at in my cycle, what phase I'm at. And this is literally how I plan my business, how I plan my social life. When I see my boyfriend, we don't live together. So like, I know, like if I'm in that like orange red week, that's probably not a good time. I mean, as much as I'm thriving, I still have my moments, like it's not perfect. So getting into how these colors work, I call it seasoning, and we'll get to that.
I love seasoning. We get spicy and salty, maybe, right?
There you go. Yeah. So there's 4 phases to the menstrual cycle. So we have our bleed, so our menstruation, and then we have our follicular, our ovulation, and then luteal. And luteal is broken down into 2 phases. So you have your luteal and your late luteal, or your pre-menstruum or PMS phase, because that's usually when PMS happens. So first things first, your period. We kind of all know what the period is, right? The time then we bleed, but this is also the time that our hormones are like at their lowest. Our progesterone, our estrogen is at our lowest. And even though you might be a woman that doesn't really suffer with much, maybe not a lot of cramps. I have a friend, she's like, I don't really get cramps, but like my back hurts, you know, that's it. Other women don't
I had that.
feel anything. Yeah. And you know, I've had this talk before where cramps suck. I'm not going to lie, but my cramps are also a reminder that this is my time to pause and to not push. And
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that women who don't really overly feel too much with their period, maybe like some fatigue, but if they're not getting that physicality, the pain, the breast soreness, the back, the cramping, they'll just keep pushing on through their days as they normally would. But rest is so important during that time. Even if for me, really just that first day, my first day is the worst. So if I can have that first day curled up on the couch with my cat, my heating pad, put some Netflix on, like that's really what I need. Sometimes I have to work, but then I find like if I have to work the first 2 days of my bleed, I have a period hangover. It takes me longer to recover almost from my period because I didn't allow my body that rest. I had a friend tell me a couple weeks ago, her period was coming, let's say tomorrow. She's like, yeah, last night I went to like this hot yoga class and today I'm going rock climbing. Oh no, she had her period. And I looked at her and she's like, I'm so tired. I'm not feeling well. I'm like, what are you doing? You can do yoga, but you don't want to be doing like a power flow that's hot at 42 degrees. I'm like, no hot yoga while you're menstruating. I'm like, and rock climbing? Are you kidding? I'm like, rest. And the thing is, a lot of times as women, we feel guilty when we rest. I need to be pushing myself. I need to get that workout in. I can't miss a day. But really, it is that time to rest. And this is also known as the winter phase. So if you start thinking your cycle in seasons, more so instead of, menstrual, follicular, ovulation, luteal, it'll give you a better understanding of the energy of that phase. So winter, what do we do in winter? We want to hibernate. We want to curl up and stay warm. We want our soups. We want our comfort food, right? It's also a time of internal reflection.
So then after winter, does it naturally flow into spring as the next phase?
Right, your follicular, so your spring phase. But I do want to mention is you don't just go from winter to spring, right? It's not like all of a sudden there's no snow outside and like the flowers are budding, right? There's an overlap.
Okay.
So even like when I'm moving out of my bleed into that spring phase, I'm feeling better, but I also notice I still have I don't want to be around people. I might be a little moody because there's an overlap like there is in like the seasons that we experience. So what does spring bring? It brings new energy. Right? Spring is also a time of new birth, new life. So this is usually when like your creativity kind of starts flowing in your mind. Right? So after my period, I'm in my spring phase. This is when I'm like excited, when my ideas are flowing. Like I get really excited this time because I feel fresh and new after my period. And now all of my ideas are swirling. But this is an energy you want to move slow into. It's not like, yes, it's springtime. I'm going to jump in, because how you move out of one cycle into another cycle will affect your cycles. So you want to make sure that you're honoring the energy of each season.
Got it. Okay. So when you are in this season of creativity, I would suspect that is when you lean into maybe some of the things that you want to do in your business. Maybe you have like large projects that you want to be creative on. You would schedule that for that period of time.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it's really recommended the first 2 days of your period to not do any form of like heavy working out. You can go for light walk. You can do like a gentle stretch yoga, restorative, any light form of exercise, but nothing too hardcore. Your body doesn't need it and your body doesn't want it. It's not optimal. You won't feel great. So now we can go back into like working out from here. So yeah, I love this phase because I'm always really excited, but I still have that energy of, I'm a little tired. So maybe I can't push as much through my day, but this is usually when I'm like, okay, I sit down, I've got my ideas. How do I want to organize it this week? What new ideas do I like want to sit and work on? Because this is my time where it all comes alive, right? Just like spring. So what comes after spring?
Summer.
Yes. So this is our prime time. We're full on energy. So this is a time to book those business calls, work on those projects, girls' nights, set up those times to go out with friends, date night. This is all also a time where our libido is up because our body is preparing to make a baby. This is also the time where women can get pregnant.
Yikes.
Right? There's a window here. Cannot get pregnant 30 days out of the month. It's a very, very small window. So I also don't want you to say, Emmie said I could go out and like get pregnant right now or not get pregnant right now. It's really important to understand when you are ovulating. And I don't necessarily want to talk about your period is this long and then this, because every woman is different. And now in perimenopause, sometimes I'm ovulating on day 10 or 11, but whereas past cycle, I ovulated like around day 18 or 19. So every
That's
woman,
a big swing.
it is a big swing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I like it because the earlier we ovulate, the shorter the cycle, whereas the later we ovulate, the longer the cycle.
Right. So here we are. It's summer. It's summer for us. And so we can go back to our regular workout routine if we're lifting heavy. We can go rock climbing. Right? We could, continue our hardcore training and do all of the things. That's the time when we probably have our most energy, would you say, in the month?
Yeah. So this is actually the time that a woman can work out like a man, right? Men can work out the same every day because their hormones rise and fall with the sun, whereas ours rise and fall with the moon. So this is actually a time where a woman can train like a man.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. Lift heavy here, really get those hardcore workouts in for sure. And like plan all the things. But the thing is here, when you're in ovulation, do not plan a girls' night out for a week and a half down the road. You are going to regret it when you hit that fall phase.
Uh-oh.
Like, yeah, let's do it. And then after summer, what happens? Fall, right?
Yeah.
So what happens in fall?
Well, the leaves change and it's beautiful and it starts to get cooler.
Right. The weather changes, energy changes. So as you come up in your summer phase where your estrogen is the highest, right? And we know that estrogen is also our coping hormone. So it's our happy hormone. We feel really, really good. Also, confidence is up. You are going to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, damn girl, I look hot right now.
Yeah.
And I do that when I'm ovulating. I'm like, oh, I look good today. And then a week and a half, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not feeling this today. Also important to know that like how you're feeling about yourself, you also have to take, well, where am I in my cycle? Because our perception really changes. And one thing that I want to say, and this blew me away when I was learning all this stuff, is that during our menstrual cycle, the chemical makeup of our brain changes 25% every cycle.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just understanding this little bit, like if you think like where your hormones are at with your period, your hormones are at their lowest. In your spring phase, your estrogen is coming up. So your mood is changing. You're feeling better. And then all of a sudden up here, summer phase, it's all there. The confidence, the sex, the projects, the work, the social life, everything is up here. Estrogen is up there. But then estrogen starts coming down and the progesterone starts coming up. So think of everything that's going on, that chemical makeup in your brain. We are literally a different woman every day.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's why I call estrogen Queen Estrogen, because she is that hormone that makes us feel wonderful in the best ways ever. And so that makes perfect sense that when estrogen is high in our bodies, we're actually feeling good. And we're like, yes, we've got it.
Oh yeah, I can feel the estrogen rising, after last week. I'm like, yeah, this feels good. So estrogen starts to decline and progesterone starts to come up. And you might notice I felt a little drop in my energy. And this happens in the fall, right? The leaves fall off the trees. We begin to move slower. The time of harvest, we bring in food for the winter, right? We're getting more into that slow movement. So this is a time where you want to slow down. And this can be really hard because as women, we are very go, go, go. Now, I don't have kids, but if you're a mom and you have a business and you're running a household, it might be very hard for you to slow down. Now, I don't have kids, but I run a business and I'm a one-woman show. And if I don't do it, it doesn't get done.
I hear you.
And I used to get really frustrated with myself. Like, you had this huge to-do list today, Emmie, and you didn't get it done. But I started realizing I'm not at that mental capacity to work the way I was the week before. So I give myself smaller tasks that I know should only take 20 minutes, but they could take me 2 hours because I might work for 20 minutes, go take a break for an hour, come back, because that's the way my brain works. So I give myself smaller tasks. If your energy is slowing slowing down, then this is where you want to try and slow things down in your business. Maybe ask your partner for help. And this is also a time to release what no longer serves you, just like the trees, like get rid of the leaves. It's the same thing with us. I find this is when I feel really connected intuitively, journal. I really like to go to my oracle cards at this time where I feel like really in tune with the inner her, even though she's always there. It's a time in your cycle where you're actually blocking out the outside noise as we slow down. That's our progesterone. Progesterone is our calming hormone. But in that second half of the luteal phase, when that progesterone really starts dropping, we no longer have that coping hormone of queen estrogen. So this is when that inner not so nice voice can come in, the negative thought, the anger, the self-judgment. So this is a time that's really important to nurture yourself, be kind to yourself, and show love to yourself. Because mentally, with the hormones changing, we're not always the nicest to ourselves and we're always pushing ourselves. So this is really, truly a time to nurture yourself.
Give yourself grace.
Yeah. And I still have to remind myself, Emmie, you're in that luteal phase. Like if you don't get it done, you can get it done in the spring phase.
And that is powerful to actually know that and to allow yourself to give yourself the time and the space that you need so that you are mentally ready for those tasks that you have planned. Because I think that if you don't realize that and you have this huge to-do list with 20 items and you feel overwhelmed and you keep pushing yourself to check all 20 boxes, but then you realizing that you're self-sabotaging yourself because your body and your mind is not ready to do all 20 things all at the same time because it's not summer anymore.
That's right. And, it's also too, when you come out of your period and you're starting to feel that new energy, if you go from out of your period and push into a full summer energy when you're not there, you are going to crash and burn in that fall phase, in that luteal phase.
Yeah.
So it's really important how you move from one cycle to the other. Now, as I mentioned, it's not going to be perfect. Like as much as I set my schedule the way I do, sometimes like there is something I have to really work on in that late luteal phase or have a call or something. It doesn't always work out perfect. But I also know where my energy is going to be at during this time and how to prepare properly. And if I can touch quickly, as we kind of talked about working out before and the rock climbing and everything during your cycle. So as I mentioned, like during ovulation is the time that women can work out like men. The first half of our cycle, we're in an anabolic state because estrogen is anabolic. So this means that we're in muscle burning mode. So this is a really, really great time to lift weights. So strength training, core, all of these things to build your strength. And of course, adding those rest days in there. In the second half of your cycle, your body is in a catabolic state, fat burning mode. Your body becomes less insulin resistance here. So as much as you can weight train, you can go down in the weights, you can do resistance training, your running, your Pilates, again, yoga. When you start aligning or syncing your workouts with your cycle, I remember the first time I did this, the first time I did a program that was synced to my cycle, I cried because the way my body responded.
Wow.
Because even like when I was working out 7 days a week and I was still lifting heavy right before my period, I'm like, oh my goodness, last week I was lifting like 12 pounds and today I'm lifting like 3 because my body is not in that state to be lifting heavy at that time. And when you really start syncing your workouts, the way my body responds is just amazing because I'm working out to where my body's at. So it's more optimal. There's less fatigue in my workouts and your results are also better. And also during that time, I have a lot of extra anxious energy, as I like to call it. So those faster workouts feel really good for me because I'm releasing that energy. But it's also really important to note that doing cardio 3 days in a row, you don't want your heart rate to go into zone 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row because that boosts the cortisol and then we know what happens.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other topic. I know, like I said, you've got to keep me on topic here because I can keep going. But I did just want to get that in because I don't want women to think, oh, okay, I just won't work out for the first 2 days of my period and then like keep pushing. No, we don't need to push every day.
That is one of the most important things that we have to keep saying to ourselves, that we are no longer in our 20s. Okay. Like our bodies have changed and we have to respect that. And it's a wonderful change, but it's wonderful. It's beautiful in exactly the ways that we want it to be, right? So we
Yeah.
have to honor our bodies. We have to listen to our bodies and do all the things. And I like the way how you explain this cycle through these seasons. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yes, and I season my weeks. I said I was going to explain that. So
Okay.
the seasoning of my weeks is basically what did you say? A little spice in
Be a
there.
little salty.
So this is how I season my weeks. You can see like my weeks are color coded. So each color represents a different phase or different season in my cycle. This purple is the week that I'm in my period. So I try not to plan anything here. It doesn't mean that I don't. I just know if I plan anything, what to plan, and very scarce. This is this week. This is my green week. So I'm in my spring phase. So I know this is my creation week. Then my yellow phase, my summer phase. This is my push week for working out. This is my push week for business and all the calls. And then my orange week. So this is my fall week. So I know that my energy is coming down. I want to do small tasks. And I don't have anything here to being in perimenopause. It's questionable when my period comes right now. So I always try and leave that week open because it could be another orange week for all I know. So I love teaching this because I just think because it's not just about tracking. This is when I get my period. This is when my period ends and I have cramps for this many days. Like I could do a full call on that. Like because I love teaching people how to track properly. I had a client who said she always found tracking so confusing until I taught her this system. I call it the cycle compass system. And she said, I've never enjoyed tracking or found a way to track the way you have taught me.
It makes sense. I like the analogy of the seasons. That makes absolutely sense. Perfect sense to me.
Yeah, you sprinkle the seasons in your calendar. That's what I do. And then my calendar on the wall too. It's all color coordinated. I come from the generation where we wrote everything out and highlighted everything. So this is just, expanding from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have one last question for you. And this is about how I understand, we all understand now the seasons, but then life happens. So let's just say that there is a huge event that occurs in your winter. And oh my goodness, it's happening on the first day of your period. You must attend. Give me some tips on how you navigate that.
I would make sure the days leading up to that I would be resting. I would make sure, I know now, like in perimenopause, like naps are like essential. That is a non-negotiable. And as I said, I don't have kids. So like I have the means to like nap whenever I want. But leading up to my period, I'm so tired. So if I know that something is landing on my period, I make sure that I nurture my body before that. I'm not just going to not do anything. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to nap. I'm going to get my rest in as much as possible. And then the day of, I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared. I no longer call it a toolbox because nothing's broken. I like to call it a nurture basket. So it's like you have
I love that. I love that.
You have a basket of all the things you need to nurture you. One of my things in there is like my yoga mat and like the book I'm reading, but you can also have like your heating pad in there, your teas. So making sure that with this event that you're going to or whatever it is, making sure that leading up to that you've nurtured and taken care of your body in the way that it needs. And then the day of, make sure, don't push your energy. Show up to the event, but don't push yourself to be in that summer energy. Be in that nice, calm energy. Show up with the energy for you, not for somebody else. Don't give that, unless you're going up and doing a speech, like you have to gauge the situation. I have heating pads that I put inside my pants, like I'll wear leggings. So that way, like I have a heating pad all day.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen those.
They used to have all different ones. Now they just have the ones for the back and you can wrap them. So I just cut the thing off to wrap it. And then I just put it in the front, and it's nice because it covers the whole lower back. So it covers like my whole bottom part of my stomach. And I just put it in my pants. This is if I have to work the first day of my period. And it's not hot like a heating pad, but it's enough that it helps keep me relaxed. So when you understand understand your cycle, you start seasoning your week, you can prepare yourself for what's coming up. Because like you said, life things can happen the day that you have your period. But it also goes into like really preparing and rest as much as you can. Take those naps. I mean, I know most people nap for 20 minutes. I nap for like 3 hours. So I mean,
yes, you do. I remember you telling me that.
I love my naps actually. And I might have one today because I'm just freshly into my spring phase. So I'm still a little tired. And I know that as much as I feel this energy, I get tired a lot faster. And I have to honor that.
And that's the perfect way to close, talking about honoring your body, which is how we started. That is the perfect ending. I want to thank you so much, Emmie. You are the women's alchemist. I will never forget that. I love that. I love your approach. And I think that you have helped us really understand our bodies in a way that we hadn't thought about it before. Seasoning. I love it. Thank you for joining. And folks, I'm going to have information at the bottom of this video so that you can contact Miss Emmie. She's more than just a women's alchemist. She's also a yoga teacher. She does so many other things. She's amazing. So reach out to her. And thank you again, Emmie, for joining. I appreciate you.
For having me.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.